Lucent is a premium currency that is used in an auction house to buy and sell gear, materials and items. Lucent can be purchased in a cash shop with real money, but since most of you are free-to-play players, in this video I will show you several different ways you can generate large amounts of Lucent by simply playing the game as a full free-to-play player. To obtain Lucent, you have to sell something on an auction house. There are 5 different things you can farm and grind which can be sold on an auction house for Lucent. The first, most important and most consistent way to generate Lucent will be by selling traits in a form of a gear extract. You can check the prices on an auction house to see which are the most expensive ones, but generally evasion, heavy attack chance, hit, critical hit, attack speed, range, max health, skill damage boost and skill damage resistance will be the most valuable to sell. Different gear drops can be obtained through various activities. Daily dungeon clears have a guaranteed reward of at least one blue gear item, and if RNG is on your side, a purple gear item. Daily contracts have a chance to reward a blessing pouch, which can also be bought daily at a contract coin merchant. Blessing pouches have a chance to drop blue or purple gear items, as well as open world dungeon contract scrolls, which can also be bought weekly at Sundry's merchant. These pouches also have an increased chance to drop blue or purple gear items. Completing various activities and content will award you abyssal tokens, which are used in open world dungeons. Farming mobs will consume these tokens, and in return you get increased drops and item chances. The maximum limit is 20,000 tokens, and spending all of them in one run can get you anywhere from 10 to 15 blue gear items and 4 to 5 purple gear items. With all of these gear drops, check what has bad traits, is unusable and has no value to. Then put those gear items into material conversion. Always fill it up enough to reach at least conversion level 4, but level 5 is ideal as you get guaranteed one purple gear item of higher value and rarity. And all of these gear items always drop with one trait unlocked. After checking on an auction house and confirming that they are worth some Lucent, extract all valuable gear items using trait extraction stones and sell them. If you get lucky early on, this could net you a crazy amount of Lucent as everything will be overpriced and whales will be buying everything. The second way of obtaining Lucent will be through selling materials farmed in dungeons and open world dungeons. Every dungeon run will give either Precious Marvind, Rubik's, Emerald or Stallon. These are tradable and can be sold on an auction house for Lucent. Another way of farming large amounts of these materials will be in open world dungeons. Spending all 20,000 abyssal tokens farming in an open world dungeons will almost guarantee anywhere from 5 to 10 of these materials in blue and purple rarities. Early on they will have higher value on auction house, so it is recommended to sell all of them before the prices stabilize later in the game. The third way of obtaining Lucent will be through crafting blank lithographs and converting expensive and valuable gear items into sellable lithographs. While traits are a good consistent income, sometimes you may come across an item drop that is quite rare. You can turn these items into lithographs and sell those instead, which may lead to a higher profit compared to just selling the specific trait on a said item. To sell it, first you need to craft a blank lithograph. There are 3 different types for weapon, armor and accessories, each with a different material requirements. The biggest bottleneck in crafting this will be enchanted ink, which can only be obtained once a week at a contract coin merchant where you can only get 50 of them. Weapons require 50, armor and accessories require 25 enchanted ink to craft a blank lithograph. This method can get you a lot of Lucent early on, especially if you get very rare drops. The fourth way of obtaining Lucent will be through selling food. Leveling up your cooking skills will be very much needed to unlock higher tier recipes that give greater bonuses, which in turn makes them more valuable. To cook any food you need ingredients, where most can be obtained through activities such as dungeons, fishing, amateur expedition, as well as drops from mobs in the open world. The rest of basic ingredients can be bought at Sundry's merchant. To craft food that can be sold on the auction house, it needs to crit or hit a great success. You can see in the bottom right corner your great success rate. This method requires a bit of time investment for leveling up cooking and unlocking new recipes, but once you reach a certain level, it will all be worth it. as these food items could be somewhat pricey early on, which every player should capitalize on. The fifth way of obtaining Lucent will be to crafting Runehammer bundles and selling them. Runes will not be available for global players early on for some time, so this method won't be available at the start. But the general idea is that you farm runes. You dissolve runes to obtain rune fragments, which are then used to craft rune hammers. As with crafting everything, it has a chance to crit, meaning the item then becomes sellable on the auction house. You can craft each rune hammer one by one, or collect 1000 rune fragments and try for a 10 times rune hammer bundle, which if it crits will get you more Lucent. Castle Siege, Riftstone bosses, cross-server wars and tax delivery events are ways to earn large amounts of Lucent, but unfortunately these events aren't happening daily and would require you to join a guild and do PvP battles, which isn't for everyone. But if you really wanted to min-max your potential Lucent gain and plan to play Throne of Liberty as hardcore as possible, then consider creating alt characters. Since Lucent is the only thing that is shared among every character and maximum of characters one player can have is 3, there are ways where you can triple the amount of gear drops you can get. Each of the 3 characters also recharges daily dungeon entries and contract coins, which can be used for additional daily dungeon runs and chances at obtaining blessing pouches, meaning you have more gear drops and more chances at dropping traits that are valuable to sell. Also, you get to buy weekly open world dungeon contract scrolls, which also increases the chances of obtaining additional gear drops. And the best part is that you also generate abyssal tokens, meaning once or twice a week you can spend the 20,000 limit on 3 different characters, which will be a massive gain and advantage toward generating Lucent. Basically everything I mentioned above for gaining Lucent can be applied 3 times if done on 3 different characters. It requires a lot of time and effort to pull off. You will have to eventually gear up these old characters for future content, and it's definitely not something casual players can pull off. Now that I helped you generate endless amounts of Lucent, how about you help me generate an additional subscriber by subscribing and watching some of my other content appearing on your screen.